Hello, everyone. Welcome to the February 19th Call of Duty Slate. Used to doing the league intro a little bit, I guess. Um, so we have a pretty interesting four gamer here to talk about. Recap yesterday and as well. Quickly before we get started, um, I'm chain recording my CS:GO, my League of Legends, and then I'm doing my Call of Duty video here third. So if my voice is a little gone and I have to take sips of water in between words and stuff, just know that's what I'm doing. So apologize for not being 100% here, but I'm new to making content and all that stuff. So doing all this stuff back to back and all this stuff is pretty busy and new for me. So hope you guys can understand, but hopefully we can make some money and make up for it. Yesterday we got rinsed, wiped across the board, made fun of, fooled, clowned, bullied. We just got straight up stomped yesterday in the Call of Duty streets. Somehow I actually ended up making money overall in the day. I lost in CSGO Call of Duty, but won in League of Legends, which somehow is looking kind of like a trend. I guess that's not true. I actually killed it so far in COD this year. Had a few big wins and stuff. Haven't been consistent, and that's what we're trying to look for and look upon and improve. So, interesting four gamer here today. Actually, yesterday wasn't that great. We weren't a big fan of it either way. We were on LA Thieves, we were on Minnesota, we were on Toronto. As you can see, two of our teams got swept. Not a recipe for success. Pretty bad from me. I keep giving Minnesota a lot of credit. I keep trying to take credit away from FaZe. Luckily, there's not a lot really to break down as far as these teams go. We can quickly check how the maps break down and stuff. Oh, that's the wrong series. So the first one wasn't that close. 251-63. The Search and Destroy definitely should have gone Minnesota Rockers' way. They were definitely up in game. They were up 5-4. They had two good chances to close it out and get the 6-4 and 6-5 win, but they bottled both of the last two rounds. So I feel like we should have at least seen a fourth map here. But then by then it was 2-0, and it's just kind of tough to bring that third game back. So it seemed pretty doomed by then. I think maybe if it's 1-1 going into this third map, then it's a different story. But just kind of bad. I mean, I thought maybe it would be a little bit closer, and it just wasn't. Call of Duty is a little volatile that way. The difference between a 3-0 and a 3-2 isn't as much as it kind of you'd think, but this next one, Toronto, Texas. I had some hot takes. I thought Toronto was going to wipe the floor with Texas. Although I do think Texas, we're kind of on the up and up and all that stuff. I just thought Toronto still had the pedigree and we're just a kind of a cut above Optic. Turned out to be wrong. It's just not great there for me, to be honest. I'm not sure how else to kind of cut it. Looking back, I kind of did have that feeling with this Optic Texas team that maybe their bad start was too overvalued, I guess. I don't know how I'm trying to word it, but I kind of had that feeling that maybe Optic was kind of a little undervalued there. I think I did say that even in the video, but but I was pretty heavily. I thought Toronto was gonna have a good solid statement, a solid stamp on this series. There was some controversy with it, but I don't like getting into the Call of Duty controversy. It happens daily, it seems like, with the COD community. So just kind of a bad day for me. No else other way to shake it, but we try to improve and get back in the W column. There's those days happen. Unfortunately, got rinsed yesterday, but the difference between last and first place from being out of the money is no different. Get zero both ways. So it is what it is. We tried to fire it back up in today, and I think today actually looks pretty decent. So this is something I want to start doing more so with these videos. Is I want to try to look at the slate as a whole, look at everything first, try to get a good slate, get a good overview of everything together, and then break things down piece by piece. So we have Seattle minus 650 over Florida. Makes sense. Seattle's looking super strong. Probably top one. Probably the best team in the league right now, I think. They're the only ones who have consistently looked good. And then Florida, who I think is arguably... They're in the bottom three. I think there's a tier. Here, let me do this. I can quickly do this, so... We look at, man, these, I don't like these pictures and stuff. Toronto, probably top. I'll put Toronto up here. I'll put FaZe up here. I'll put, where is Seattle? All right, Seattle. Probably ordered them this way. Okay. I don't want to use all these here, so I'm just gonna do for the S. I'll probably have 4. Optic are probably top A. London in A. LA Thieves in A. Then we have this middle one here with Minnesota. Paris definitely at the bottom. LAG probably here in the middle, arguably above them. New York, bottom. Florida, bottom. Dallas isn't a team. Who are we missing? This is kind of old. So we have Atlanta, Seattle, London. We're missing Boston. Yeah, so Boston's the only team missing here. Duh. All right, so instead of the Boston Breach, don't have a thing here, so I'll just use the Chicago one. I'm going to put them at the... I'm going to put them in A. Probably put them... I don't know. This A tier is kind of tough to rank individually, but quickly, I think this is how I would shake these teams down. Maybe Ultra's not there because they just lost, but this is probably how I would do the quick tier rankings of these teams. I feel like elite title contenders here in S. Maybe some slight improvements in that conversation as well with in this A tier. B tier is solid but not terrible, and C is terrible, bottom trash, probably a free win against everyone else in the league. So quickly, that's how I'd probably rank everyone. Based off of what I just said, Seattle, huge favorite over Florida, understandable. I feel like this is a great spot for Seattle. Quick check of pricing, SIB-Pred. Seems normal. Seattle, MAC and accuracy seem a little low, but we'll talk about individual players later. Probably a good spot for Seattle. I feel like Florida's been giving up a good amount of points. Talking about giving out points, New York, Boston. You guys know how I felt. I've stacked against New York every time that they've played, and it's been working out great so far. I wish I shouldn't have closed Breaking Point, but on the team stats, we can check New York. They are... Their hardpoint KD is 0.8. Their control is 0.9 or 0.89. So it has just been an abysmal performance for New York. They're giving up so many fantasy points. It feels like as long as they have Crimsix and Clayster, like their slaying power is going to be so lacking. So I feel like this is a great spot for Boston. Let's check how they're doing priced. Methods and TJ Howley are pretty cheap. I feel like those are probably two very great spots, two very great cheap options to fit in some other teams. I feel like the Methods and TJ Howley are super underpriced overall. Narrow's pretty overpriced. Capspadal is a very good player. I don't know if he's like a 10-2 quality player though, but I think he's a good solid third option if you want to get to a Boston 3-man stack, which I think is definitely very live because of how bad New York has been and how many fantasy points they've been giving up. Let's check who. Let's see. Let's check who has New York played recently. So they played LA Thieves, Seattle, and LAG. Let's check Seattle's how they did against New York. 140 for Sib. 136 for Pred. 98 for Mac against New York, not great. 106. So like those are great scores there for Seattle against New York. Who else was it? LA Thieves, I said. 115 for Draza against New York. 133 for Kenny against New York. I mean, I'm sure you guys get the point. Like these players are scoring great against New York. They're just giving it up left and right. Even LAG. 117 for Hook against New York. Gunless is putting up great numbers overall. ASIM absolutely decimated, destroyed, flam-basted New York. 167. That's a crazy number. Slasher hasn't been great, but even him 118 against New York. Like New York is just bleeding fantasy points. So Boston, number one spot for me on the whole slate, without a doubt. Not even a question in my mind. I think Boston is a great team. New York is just floundering, reeling in pretty much every aspect at the moment. I think they're going to have to make a change with between Clayster and Crimsix. They are both legendary, great, all-time great players, but they just don't have the ability to kind of compete and slay with the other teams. So that's going to be it for me there. Like I can't talk up Boston enough, honestly. Like I feel like Seattle, great spot. Boston, great spot. I love both of those a lot. Seattle's a little pricey, but it is what it is. We'll talk about individual players probably towards the end. Then the last two series are pretty interesting and close. So we have Minnesota Rocker versus LAG. Los Angeles Guerrillas are the -148 favorite. It kind of makes sense. It's actually a pretty interesting one. So on the LAG side, they have a 3-2 loss to Boston. Pretty respectable. In my tier list, I had Boston like above them on the tier list, so understandable there. 3-1 over New York, again, makes sense. New York are at the bottom. 3-0 by Toronto, makes sense. New York Toronto at the top. They beat London, which is pretty impressive. Again, I had London pretty high up there. I think London is a great team, and I've honestly just kind of liked what I've seen from LAG overall. I mean, they've looked solid in their series where they were underdogs. Getting 3-0 by Toronto is a little tough, but again, I still value Toronto super high. Although they had a bad day here, I don't want to put too much into that. Like Toronto's still an elite team. I don't want to take that away. Then Minnesota, I've lost money on them like every time they've played so far. It feels like they lost to London, they lost to Seattle, they got their reverse sweep over Texas. So I don't know. I don't want to get away from Minnesota too hard. I still kind of feel like all the things that apply to them that I've said the last few times still does apply. I don't know. Like this reverse sweep over Optic, it's like a whole different Optic team now from week 1 compared to now. Going to 5 with Seattle's pretty impressive. Like Seattle's been consistently good, so that's fine. London is a great team, so it's like I'd almost argue that Minnesota have played the 4 best teams in the league. Have they played? Yeah, so they've played Seattle, London, Atlanta. The only team that Minnesota hasn't played is Toronto. So, but the point still stands. So Minnesota, they beat an Optic team that I don't want to count that series kind of at all because it feels like it was a different Optic team, honestly. Then they went to 5 with Seattle. That's a pretty good result. They got beat by London, which is okay because I feel like London is still a super, super talented team, probably like the top 5 team. I like them a lot. And they got 3-0'd by FaZe. Again, I liked Minnesota yesterday. FaZe is still just looking pretty good, though. Like, it's hard to ignore. The FaZe are, 4-0 now? As much as I've been picking against them, like, they're just kind of in a different, like, segment. Like, the FaZe are still just elite Atlanta FaZe here, so. I don't know. It's tough for them. these odds do feel close and fair. Like, it makes sense how LAG's been the favorite. It's tough. Like, this is actually like a super close pick'em series. This is one where we should break down a little bit more because just based off of what I'm looking at, it's pretty close. Team stats: Vanguard, the LAG Los Angeles Guerrillas against the Minnesota Rocker. So we look here. Minnesota not looking great win wise. LAG, the defining fact the what am I trying to say? The defining factor here is the respawns. Sorry if I just blew into the mic and it was loud. So LAG 6-1 in hardpoint. Super impressive, actually. This is actually a super crazy thing. And the only hardpoint loss, it looks like it came against Toronto. And this is 0-3. 0-4 in control, that's pretty tough. But even then, their control KD is not great. Then on the Minnesota side, they're reeling in hardpoint. They're reeling in the respawn modes like as a whole. Pretty bad team KDs here in the hardpoint and stuff. So, man, I don't know. I think I just need to kind of pull the plug on Minnesota, and I need to stop giving them so much credit because of what they did last year. I think that's probably just the takeaway here is I personally just kind of need to kind of get away from this Minnesota team, and I don't know. I just have a feeling like I've been on them a couple of times now, and as soon as I swap to the LAG side, Minnesota's going to be the team that's good. That shouldn't factor in here, but it definitely kind of will. I don't know. It's just hard to ignore these like respawn numbers. They're both bad in control. Minnesota have the edge, I think, in the search and destroys. The hard point is definitely one-sided towards Los Angeles Guerrillas. So I think this is one where I'm going to pick the LAG side pretty reluctantly. The third favorite I have. Let's check pricing and see if there's anything here. Standy 10K, Tatch 7-8, Priesta, Major Maniac. LAG are pretty cheap. I don't know. It's kind of tough to get away from this LAG team here, I think. Hook is pretty expensive. That's the only like thing negativity I have to say, really. I don't know. Like, I feel like if there was an underdog, it definitely would be Minnesota. But just based off of all the stats and everything we just looked at, it's just tough. It feels like even if Minnesota win the series, you could argue LAG have the better like individual like scoring performances for DFS purposes. So I'll just lean on the LAG side. I feel like they have more raw slaying power, and that definitely matters more in DFS. So we'll probably just lean with the Guerrillas there, a little reluctantly. Now we have a pretty great series here, Toronto, LA Thieves. Toronto is the -165 favorite. Again, should kind of go into a deep dive here. I think this is a pretty close series against two really good teams. Team stats, we have Toronto and why am I already blanking? LA Thieves. This might be a kind of hot take. I'm not sure where people are going to land on this really. But so we look at who they've played. LA Thieves got the 3-1 over New York, Florida, Paris. Now, for those of you who were here 4 minutes ago when I went over the tier list, could you guys remind me who was in the bottom, the three teams that were in the bottom of the tier list, segregated by themselves based on how poorly they are individually? That would be New York, Florida, and Paris. You guys are great students if you got that one right. So we have an LA Thieves team who I'm actually pretty high on overall. I like the players and think they have a lot of potential. But as you guys are probably gathering by my allusions here, they've lost to FaZe 1-3. That's normal. But then they've beaten the 3 worst teams in the league. So their numbers and everything feel a little inflated. Then we over on the Toronto side. Again, they beat LAG. That's okay. That's an okay win. That's a decent win. Then we have Florida. Again, bad team. Not a lot of stock there. But they have a close series with Seattle that could have easily gone either way. Then I think they just had a really bad off day here against Texas, Optic Texas, and I think Optic are probably like a little bit better maybe than we are giving them credit for because of their bad week 1. So I want to maybe give a little bit of some passes based on like certain performances and stuff. So it just feels like, all things considered, Toronto have been playing much better. I feel like this is a great bounce back spot for them to kind of remind people that they're not that bad, and we just haven't seen enough. Like, I think if these LA Thieves wins were like 3-0s, then we're talking differently. But because it's like 3-1s, 3-2s against Florida, like they just haven't looked dominant. I just don't think they've put like a whole good series together, and it just feels like the side to be on is the Toronto side here. I feel like Toronto should get the job done. They put a good stamp on this one. They have a definitive series here. Put a good solid win here for the Toronto boys. I'm going with Toronto. I don't know, 3-0, 3-1, something like that. But I think the Toronto side is the side I'm liking. Unfortunately, when I look at these odds and look at who I'm picked, I'm on 4 favorites. I like Seattle probably 3-0, 3-1. Boston 3-0. I'll put that out there. Boston 3-0. LAG, Minnesota, again, close. 3-0. No, that's not what I'm saying. I could see LA 3-1. Probably maybe going 5. Probably lean with the LA side 3-1. I think LA 3-1. We'll go with that. So, and then on Toronto, LA, probably close. Maybe goes to 5. But I'll go with Toronto. Get the job done. I think Toronto will be closer. Yeah, 3-2, 3-1. But I just feel like Toronto maybe have a little bit of a disrespect from yesterday, and they looked completely out of sorts, like altogether. So I don't want to. I don't know. I just don't want to say. I don't know. Just when you put everything together here, where it's like all LA Thieves have done is beat the 3 worst teams, and then not even decisively, and then on the other hand, they've and they just haven't looked great. Like, I don't know how else to like put it there. Like, that's just kind of what I have for that one. I just feel like the Toronto side is better. 4 underdogs. I'm sure you guys are loving that. But again, I'm not one to force underdogs. If you guys are chain watching these videos, then I appreciate you for checking out everything. But in League of Legends, I have a big underdog tonight. In CSGO, I have a big underdog tomorrow. Call of Duty, I don't have one. It's just kind of what happens. It is what it is. I'm sure you guys would love to have some underdogs, some things to make roster construction easier and stuff. Although I feel like it should still be. The Toronto guys, pretty fairly priced, if I'm honest. Kind of liking that. So I just feel like Toronto is the better team, maybe more well put together. Should be a good series either way. I'm excited to see what happens in that series, but for now, I'm gonna lean with the team that's looked just a little bit better. So, player stats, we can look at that. I think that is the last thing here, so we can close these out. Overall KD, let's go team by team. That way we can just get a better understanding. So the first one is just Seattle. Sib with Pred and Mac, and then accuracy. Yeah, normal pricing there. Sib seems quickly. We can look at like the league as a whole. Celium is above everyone, and then it's Sib, Gizmo, and then it like good gap between him and everyone else. So Sib is definitely going to be a big part. I'd imagine he's the pay up option if people give up the money there. Like, I can't imagine people want to give a lot of money there for Capsidol, Standy, Hook. I just can't. I think Sib will be the option up here, and kind of deservedly so. Again, looking at these Seattle boys, Pred and Mac, they seem fairly priced. Mac maybe is a little cheap, but when you average it all out, it seems about normal there. So, yeah, I mean, that's nothing really too, nothing too crazy to break down there. Seattle, switching over to Boston, we have Capsidol, Methods. So, yeah, Methods is looking cheap. TJ Halley down there. He's doing okay, but again, I expect them to do pretty well against this New York team. So I think TJ Halley and Methods are underpriced. I think those would probably be the two that I like the most there. It's weird to say like you like a team but not have their best player. I think Capsidol is great. But he's just a little too pricey. And like I said earlier, I'd rather probably just get to Sib on the Seattle side, maybe if I'm spending up that much. But if I'm having a Boston 3-stack, Capsidol will be there, probably with Methods and TJ Halley. But that's what I'm liking there from Boston. LAG, pretty interesting one as well. As you guys could see, somehow their most expensive player, Hook, is the worst in the team kill-death ratio department. As you guys could see, Gunless, Asim, Slasher, all pretty cheap. I'd imagine these guys are going to be super popular, and I think that's fair, sorry, taking a sip of water there, but I think they're doing fine. Gunless, obviously, good option. 82, very affordable. Asim feels like is a little, like his prices or his KD is a little inflated just because of that one crazy series he had versus New York. But I still think they're in a good spot here as well. I think I like them a good bit. And Gunless, Asim, Slasher, all pretty good options. I can't imagine people will get to Hook. I think you could argue that Hook is a good pay up to be contrarian spot. Like, his numbers aren't that great. He's super expensive. I don't think people are going to want to get there. He has crazy upside. Like, he has a lot of really good skill individually. The problem is like just kind of mental, and it feels like he can never put it together for a whole series. And I feel like this maybe could be a spot for him. Here, let's do something. Let's have an experiment here. Let's check breaking point. Let's look at the matches for the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Whoops. Whoops, I keep not spelling it. These are showing from last year. Are they in the matches thing yet? Yeah. Okay. There we go. So, all right, we check the who's doing well. It's Asim and Slasher doing well in their wins, but as you could see, let's check these maps here. Hook, really bad map, and then a decent map. Then in the New York series, it was Asim, Slasher, Gunless, Hook down there as well. But as you guys can see, Hook, crazy good first map, crazy bad second map, and a decent third map. Like, he's just kind of all over the place. So you can argue if he, puts it all together for a series, that's fine for him. It's a good spot. So probably spend a little bit too much time talking about that team, but I think they're kind of all four playable. The obvious ones being Gunless and Asim. Maybe Hook there is the third option, but then heading over to Toronto. I know this is probably going to be like a I don't know what's a word, but this is probably like a I can't think of the word, like divisive. There we go. So probably like a divisive one. But Insight Kleenex, pretty respectable prices, honestly. They're going to be the top options. Cammy and Bance. Cammy overpriced, probably not worth getting into, but honestly, like historically speaking, all these Toronto players like get there and they're all pretty good. I think Kleenex, Cammy, Insight are probably the ones you want. If you 3-stack, if you 2-stack Insight and Kleenex, probably the ones you want. But yeah, I feel like we've seen all these Toronto players do well and have their moments to shine. So I think this is probably a pretty rare occurrence where I actually do like probably like 4 spots here. If I'm just trying to quickly think of how I'm going to approach this slate, because I like LAG, they're affordable. I like New York, they're affordable. I like Seattle, they're expensive but possible. And then you have Toronto, who's decent but affordable. So it's like, and I typically for Call of Duty, I like to do 3 lineups with 3 teams and just kind of mixing and match. So for example, I'd have like a Seattle 3-stack with a Boston 2-stack, and then I'd have a Boston 3-stack with a LAG 2-stack, then like an LAG 3-stack with a Seattle 2-stack, for example. So I'm kind of trying to think about how I'm going to approach this slate and build. I have my teams that I like. I have the players that I like. Again, eating a lot of chalk. I'm not sure where like lineup construction will be. I'd imagine Boston end up getting pretty popular. They should, at least. I think Methods and TJ Halley should be like super high owned. Gunless ASIM should be super high owned. So let me quickly test something. So yeah, you could get a SIB there, no problem even. I don't know. I'm just trying to see. So like you can kind of build however you want. Like you can kind of do anything you want, even with favorites. So in one hand, that kind of makes things easy because people can play all the favorites. But on another hand, it kind of makes things harder because if all the options are there, then anybody can do anything, as opposed to just just having one option. Kind of leads everyone to the same lineup. So when you open up the pricing, I think this actually is a good thing to enable all kinds of construction options. So I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of just talking out loud here at this point, but I'm going to do a quick refresh to see if odds change, because that actually does happen quite a bit. In Call of Duty, at least the odds are changing quickly. Looks like Toronto just went up a little bit. Everything else stayed the same. So it looks like people are kind of on the Toronto side. That makes sense. I'd be surprised, or I'd be interested to see how the odds are looking for Toronto tomorrow. As you guys can see, DraftKings, based on the team slot, have Toronto as the second biggest favorite. I would agree. I would definitely agree with Bovada here that Boston should be the second biggest favorite, but Toronto still seem fine. Again, I think quickly to recap and then try to get out of here. I like Boston a lot. New York seemed to be reeling, losing heavily, bleeding kills. Boston, great spot, number 1 option. Seattle, kind of the same boat, but like a little bit more expensive, so they're not perfect to build with. Again, great spot overall, though. Florida not looking good. Seattle looking like the best team in the league. Super great spot for them. Seattle, second best spot, I think, on the slate. LAG, Minnesota, close one, but I think LAG should have this slaying powers, put up a little bit better scores. They're not that expensive either. I like LAG a good bit. I like them. I actually like all those three spots a lot. And I think that's probably what I will end up doing, and what I should do is I'll probably end up just building around those 3 teams, Seattle, Boston, and LAG. I will probably just leave off the Toronto LA Thieves series. I don't know. I think you wouldn't be crazy for playing the Toronto players here, but I think this is probably the closest series. It's probably just the one where you leave it alone. Hope it goes to like 5. Nobody has crazy numbers. I could definitely see that happening in this series, because I still respect both of those teams a lot. I just have the slight lean with Toronto, and part of me just wants to get different by using Toronto. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to have some thought into this and look at roster construction and stuff. So I'll try to stop wasting your guys' time here and get on with the video and kind of wrap it up. So yeah, I like these teams: Seattle, Boston, LAG, Toronto, LA Thieves has me torn a little bit. I like the Toronto side, but I don't know what I'm loving there for DFS purposes. All right, one last thing. Let's check how Toronto's done in their wins. Matches. Toronto 3-0, and so that's all they've won, right? Team stats. Oh. Toronto. They've won more than a series, yeah. Okay. So is Toronto, Florida. Where's Toronto, Florida at? Matches. Toronto, LAG, Toronto, Seattle. Oh, it's not in the match history here for some reason. Toronto Ultra, is it here? Nope, that's from last year as well. Past results. Those don't show a while. Well, that's annoying. I don't know how to I don't know how to get those results from the Toronto team. Let me try this in the team stats. Toronto. Nope, I don't know. All right, whatever. This is what we can do. We'll search just Toronto wins. Even in their wins, they're not scoring that great. Hardpoint killed KD. That stuff isn't looking great. Looks like Cammy and Insight are doing well. Kleenex is okay. Cammy and Bance are here. So it looks like Cammy's actually doing well in their wins. I don't know. It's not great. I think that's probably where I'll have to cut it there. Right in with the favorites, but it is what it is. Decent spots. Just try to get the right combos, try to get the right players. Hopefully we can do that. So that'll be it for me today. Another 3-gamer for Call of Duty tomorrow. We can check and see how it's looking for tomorrow, just in case. London, Seattle, great game. Boston, Texas, great game. Atlanta, New York, not a great game. So actually decent 3-gamer tomorrow. I love these 4-gamers. It feels like it opens things up a lot more, but tomorrow's not looking bad either. So that'll be it for me today. Hopefully you guys got something out of this, even though all I've done is pick 4 favorites. Not a big earth-shattering news there. So yeah, that'll be it for me today. See you guys tomorrow for probably more League, CSGO, and Call of Duty, depending on what you guys like. Hopefully if you guys are listening by now, then you guys care what I have to say, and you guys can check out my other content as well. And let me know if you wanted to know anything, or if I'm missing something, or if I'm talking too much about something. Just kind of let me know what you guys do and don't like to hear in these videos, and I'll try to adapt. Again, I'm not too experienced with this stuff. I've only just started doing it like about a month ago. So let me know, and I'll try to do all that stuff for you guys. See you guys, and good luck.